Welcome to another edition of Youth United. We're working for a better future. We discuss important issues impacting youth with interesting guests who work to improve our communities. Today we are joined by two very special guests, Dr. Don Siegel and Sally Mills, both from the University at Albany, who every day devote themselves to training college students and youth so they can compete in the world of business and the job market. We will be discussing entrepreneur and career options for youth, including the innovative and dynamic program called the Young Entrepreneurs Academy at the School of Business at the University of Albany. So before we get into our show, we will discuss and give our audience a more background on both of our guests. Dr. Donald Siegel has a doctorate in business education and from Columbia University, and he's the Dean of the Business School and Professor of Management at the University of Albany. He also serves as the President of the Transfer Technology Society, a nonprofit organization devoted to analysis of entrepreneurship and technology transfer at universities and federal laboratories to business firms. He has served as a Sloan Foundation postdoctoral fellow at the National Bureau of Economic Research. He has taught in several university systems around the country and at RPI, where he was chair of the economics department, and the University of California, Riverside, where he has served as an associate dean for graduate students. Welcome, Dr. Siegel, and thank you for joining us today. Sally Mills is the coordinator of the special projects at the School of Business at the University of Albany. She has a degree in communication for the University at Albany in addition to her many responsibilities at the university. Ms. Mills coordinates the YAY Young Entrepreneurs Program. The Young Entrepreneurs Academy is a year-long program that teaches middle to high school students how to start and run their own real businesses. Developed at the University of Rochester in 2004 with the support of a grant from the Kauffman Foundation, YAY is in its third year of the School of Business. Welcome, Ms. Mills, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us, Maya.
All right, so we'll get into our discussion now, and starting with you, Dr. Siegel. So our national and state economies are creeping back to health after many years of mass unemployment and slow economic growth. So how has the economy impacted job opportunities and careers for college graduates?
Well, we know that many college graduates have difficulties getting jobs in the areas where they've studied. So many of our college graduates now have decided to create their own employment opportunities through entrepreneurship. And I think programs like YEA and some of the other programs that we run at the university help you to understand how to do that. So in a down economy, very few firms are hiring people on a full-time basis. Having the entrepreneurial spirit that you developed, Maya, you are our most illustrious graduate of this program, would help you to understand how to start your own company. A lot of graduates today are doing that.
Right, that's a great opportunity for them, and of course it's a wonderful thing that both of you have devoted your time to this. And so in your view, how has it impacted the small business creation?
Well, it's been difficult to start new companies because of the increase in regulation and uncertainty. So the environment is kind of tough for people who want to start their own companies. But through programs like YEA and other entrepreneurial programs that we run at the university, we teach you how to overcome those barriers, how to raise financial capital, and to live your dream. As you had your dream in our program, you know, and we want to make that dream happen, and we are trying to do that at the university.
And doing very well, and as I say myself. And so how about the demand for business and master's in business administration? That's a factor for high school students and undecided college majors when they're deciding on career options?
It is. Now, in our conventional programs, most of what we do at the business school is in the area of business administration and accounting. We were ranked number 1 in the country by U.S. News and World Report for job placement. So we do an outstanding job of placing students who don't have an entrepreneurial spirit, who want to work for conventional large companies like PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, and KPMG, and the conventional accounting and finance firms. We do an excellent job of placing those students right now. And the demand for business administration and MBA programs continues to grow. We happen to be in an enviable position because we just opened up our new $64 million School of Business building. So that makes us even more attractive to students.
Right, which is great, so I congratulate you on that. And what sort of characteristics do you believe make these people good and successful entrepreneurs?
Well, I like to cite what I call the equation of life. So you should always remember this equation. And the equation is that output equals effort times ability. Output equals effort times ability. Now, people have different levels of ability, okay? And if you go to the top schools in the country like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, you will see incredible ability. But they don't have the same kind of work ethic that I've seen of the students at the University at Albany. The students that I've seen come out of our programs, and the students that have an entrepreneurial spirit in our programs, they work extremely hard. So the output that you generate is not just a function of your ability, how well you do on an SAT test, and how smart you are, and what your intelligence level is, but also how hard you work. And our students are known for their very strong work ethic. So I think that's what distinguishes them from students who graduate from some of the elite colleges, is that they know that they have to work hard. And we train them to think that way. And they go out and they do it, and they generate more output than students who come from higher ranked institutions. Here's a number that might surprise you, Maya, because I know you have a very strong knowledge of the business world. Perhaps the most successful company in history is a company named Goldman Sachs in New York City. It's the most illustrious firm.
And I know the company.
And you know it. The number 3 undergraduate institution at Goldman Sachs is the University at Albany. Okay, and most of those students came out of the business school. They got their undergraduate degrees from there. And that surprises a lot of people, because you think, well, this is such an elite firm. All their employees must come from the elite schools. Well, they don't. And our students do well at firms like that because they have that work ethic. So output equals effort times ability, and how hard you work is very important.
Right. Now, I did see in the sign, of course, in the place says the world within reach. So these students are definitely expanding their core here, and that's a wonderful thing for them. And so back to the YEA program for a bit. Your work in the YEA program, it actually created the foundation for these students, all of them. They come in as students, and they leave as CEOs of their own company, even before they even enter college. So can you just summarize the program?
Well, that is really the essence of the program, is that you start as a student and you finish as a CEO. And along the way, you learn very important leadership skills, you learn important managerial skills, and you learn, most importantly, how to think strategically, how to formulate a business plan, and how to implement the business plan, how to raise money, how to interact with people who will evaluate your firm. We do that mini business plan competition, essentially. And the people who are evaluating you are members of my School of Business Advisory Council. These are very smart businessmen and women who are evaluating your ideas and how effectively you think. And so I think that those are very, very important skills to have, even if you don't become an entrepreneur. If you decide to go and do something else with your career, you know how entrepreneurs think, you know how to think strategically, and you know how managers think as well. And that's very, very important, because entrepreneurial thinking is now important, not just in the private sector, but in the public sector and in the nonprofit sector. So these are ideas and tools and concepts that you will use in your college career and hopefully in your career after college.
Right, that's great. And so you're part of the recruiting program, Ms. Mills.
Yes.
So how does YEA recruit students?
We work with within the local school system primarily. We work with guidance counselors and teachers to try to come up with a short time frame when we could come into the school systems and speak to the students about the program. We've also received invitations from Scout troops, Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops, youth organizations within churches, and whether it's during the normal school day where we could talk to some students, or an evening where we could talk with the Scouts or the church members. We welcome any opportunity available to share the opportunity of this wonderful program.
So that the students are aware that there is opportunity for them, because some of them might not know if there's any chance they have. because I know the school definitely doesn't offer, what you guys offer. And so what qualities are you looking for in these students?
We are looking for highly motivated students who are willing to work hard. We are looking for students that have a passion for entrepreneurship. We are looking for students that work well on a team. Although many of the individuals who come to us have their own ideas, the classroom is made up of guys and girls, age ranges between 12 and 17. So we are looking for people that work well in a team environment because each student brings a different idea to the table, and we're looking for people who can positively support that.
Right. And so can you talk about the extensive and very intense training offered to the students that come through the program?
Yes, we follow a model, as Dean Siegel mentioned. We follow a model that was established by the Young Entrepreneurs Academy in Rochester. So we have a protocol that we follow. Our instructor is Bill Brigham, the director of the New York State Small Business Development Center. He is with us every Tuesday evening for the 3-hour session of our class time. He teaches the basic business concepts that each student would need to know. For example, we cover legal requirements. We have an attorney come in and speak with us as a guest speaker. We cover accounting practices. We have different people come in and speak to us about how to market your business. One of the most interesting guest speakers that we've had is works as a part-time as the general manager of the local rock group, the Refrigerators, and he is also a full-time engineer for GE. So he came in and gave a really dynamic presentation on niche marketing, and the students found that to be fascinating.
Yeah, especially when they can relate to something well.
Yes.
And so back to you, Dr. Siegel. So considering the fact that most Americans work for small businesses, and small businesses really are important to this economy, do you think programs like YAY should be adopted by all these high schools so that more students can continue to expand their base on education?
Yes, I believe that this type of program, it reminds me a little bit of the teaching of economics in high schools, which is now mandatory in New York and some other states. I think a course in entrepreneurship should also be mandatory because there is a mindset, and it's important. I think that there's a lot of entrepreneurial talent that doesn't get developed because people don't learn to think this way. For example, in the inner city, we know that there's a lot of entrepreneurial talent that gets wasted. It gets channeled into the wrong in the wrong directions. If they had these courses, and I think entrepreneurship is even more important in some ways than economics, then that energy would be channeled in a positive direction. I also think that it's important as an economist, I kind of think about the long-term economic performance of America. This is what makes us the best economically in the world, the fact that we have this entrepreneurial talent and that we develop it. So if we had more courses and we had more students involved in these kinds of programs, I think our economy in the long run would do even better because we'd have more innovation, we'd have more entrepreneurship just overall. And we do have the talent. So yes, I would like to see that.
Yeah, and back to what you said before, you build skills like public speaking,
right,
strategical thinking, which come into play in almost anything you do, any student, whether it's entrepreneurship or any sort of other field that they're interested in. And so returning to the question of characteristics that make a successful entrepreneur, comparing students at the YEA program and the students at the School of Business, what are common traits that you've observed?
I think this question that I talked about it before, the effort, the work ethic. You have to have a strong work ethic. You know this because you went through the program. This is a very challenging program. I know we're trying to promote the program, but let's be honest about it. It does require a lot of time and a lot of effort. So that's the same with our academic programs, as I mentioned earlier. The students have to work very hard. But the benefits are there. So I think that you went through the program and you know how beneficial the program is.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And I think that the same is true for our other programs.
Right.
And there's also, again, we are very good as a school in placing students in jobs, that is, if that's what they want. I see that it's the work ethic, I think, is the common thread.
Right, and I know when a student has a dream, when an individual person has these goals and they have this tough mindset and they want to accomplish these goals, and they'll work hard toward it, and they need that program to assist them and walk them through that so that way they do reach their dreams. And that's exactly what the A program offers.
And the other thing is, and you know this, is that we have UAlbany faculty, staff, alumni, and students involved in this program, in the YEA program. So if you're a middle school or high school student, you will be able not just to take your courses in the new building, which is going to be nice, but you'll also be able to interact with our students and faculty and alumni and staff.
It's the connections you build as well. And so back to you, Ms. Mills. I know that there are many young people out there with such creative ideas and goals, but none of them may have really considered getting a degree in business for their career. So has this been your experience as you recruit YEA students?
We have a variety of students that join the program. We have had one or two students that enroll in the Young Entrepreneurs program in the School of Business who already have a business that is operating. Ironically, we had a wonderful student, 17-year-old high school senior from Bethlehem, right here locally, that came to the program with a landscaping business already operational and successful. However, he came to the program because he wanted an opportunity to learn a little bit more and to make it even more successful. And he's still running the business now. We also have had kids that come to the program and have a brand new concept that they're excited about, but just didn't really know how to make their dream come true. So we've had a young man a couple years ago who builds computers, sells them, and maintains them. So he's running his own business. I had a girl last year that came to the program and really loves her dog, and she wanted to create a business where she was making dog treats in her own kitchen and selling them to people locally. So it is quite diverse.
Wide range of ideas.
It is.
A
Yes.
lot of opportunity. And so we will now take a quick break for important messages, and we'll be right back.
He's always been a great kid, never in trouble. His friends came over and I knew what they were doing, but it seemed harmless enough. Something started to change and his grades started to drop. Things around our home started to disappear. He started asking me for money. And the thing is, we worried about drinking, we worried about drugs, but gambling?
1 in 10 adolescents in New York State has a gambling problem. Get all the facts on adolescent problem gambling. Call 1-800-437-1611.
Welcome back to Youth United, working for a better future. So today we are joined by two very special guests who every day devote themselves to training college students and youth so they can compete in the world of business and in the job market. Joining us today are once again Dr. Donald Siegel, Dean and Professor at the School of Business and University of Albany, and Sally Mills, the Coordinator of Special Projects at UAlbany. So thank you both once again for being here.
You're welcome.
So Dr. Siegel, can you go into detail of the training program for students accepted into YEA and how often they attend classes and their access to resources?
Well, classes are every week, although there are quite a few field trips, and those field trips are very useful. So basically, in a sense, you're in class every week. You're coming to campus, and as Sally mentioned, you're learning about entrepreneurship from a man who knows more about the practical aspects of entrepreneurship than anyone in the Capital Region, Bill Brigham, because he runs the New York State Small Business Development Center, and that is an institution where entrepreneurs go to for advice. People who are actually running their own companies now, they go to Bill and they say, how should I expand my business? How do I attract additional capital? So you're learning from someone who really is the leading expert in the region. So students are exposed to Bill and the business skills that Sally mentioned. But you're also learning some very practical things like how to register your company, how to present before investors, and then we have the investor panel and the trade show. So there are a bunch of activities in this program where you're not only taking classes or learning material either from Bill or from this outstanding series of guest speakers which Sally mentioned, local entrepreneurs, local experts in legal affairs and others, but you're also interacting with potential investors and interacting, as I said before, with some of our students who help with the instruction and with the field trips, and alumni. Because a lot of the people who support this program are UAlbany alumni. And maybe Sally can add a little to that.
I can, yes. I'd like to just follow up with what Don said. For the people who are not familiar with how the Young Entrepreneurs Program works, the students spend 3 hours with us every Tuesday evening, and about an hour to an hour and a half of that time is actually in one of our labs. They are developing a business plan to go forward in front of the investor panel, which is one of the highlights of our program. If anyone has had an opportunity to see the television program Shark Tank, it's very much like that program where our students have an idea, they develop the idea, they come up with a financial spreadsheet and really have a comprehensive business plan put together. And then they have 6 minutes to pitch their business to real investors who are on a panel of judges. So these are business executives in the Capital District who have given real money, their own money, to support these students' businesses and help them get off the ground. So it's very exciting. The students get lots of practice, and then they have this authentic experience of going before the investor panel and pitching their business and getting feedback from these people in the community that are highly successful.
And not only that, I know that being in that panel and having to speak in front of all these people that are, judging you and your criteria, it's got to build some sort of confidence in public speaking sort of skills, because if you're standing here and you're like, okay, here's my idea and this is why I want you to help me because this is what my idea will bring to the world, that's absolutely probably the highlight of the program if I would be speaking for myself.
Oh, yes.
And of course, and so Dr. Siegel, back to you, of course. You do participate in the YAY program, and you know that the students range in age, and some of them started even 11 years old, which is really young for some thinking of a CEO of a company. So how is the YAY instruction tailored so that it's not only appropriate for mature 17-year-olds, but on top of that, able to acquire with 11-year-olds?
That's a good question because there's a lot of variation in the level of preparation among the students because you have a diverse a group of ages there. But I think that, I haven't done a serious empirical analysis of this, but I think that our youngest students, like you, have actually done better in some ways. I think in part, I get back to this work ethic thing. I think the younger students tend to work harder because they realize that this is a very highly competitive environment. There's the older students have more knowledge, so they're hungrier, I think, the younger ones. And they are capable of understanding the business concepts. We tailor the course so that a student who is in middle school can still understand the basic concepts. And remember, as Sally said, most of this is about your idea, and you're selected into this program based on the quality of your idea as well. So someone as young as 11 or 12 may have a really neat idea, and we've seen that. So that matters too. And we also, I think it's also important to note that this is not a random group of 11 and 12-year-olds where we're talking about very special kind of middle school student that we've selected for this program. Both we had a student from Emma Willard who was very talented, and you and Sydney, I'm thinking about Sydney, very special in that sense. So I think that we try to deal with these issues through selection. And, again, I think there is this work ethic. I think they just have a very strong work ethic.
Creativity has no borders,
Well,
Anyone,
that too. That's
age
right.
range, young people have a huge imagination, and maybe that fades away, but the creativity is always there. And so, back to Dr. Siegel, of course. The School of Business at the University of Albany has a national reputation, as you've mentioned before, for its fine excellence. So how does this status help the YAY program solicit corporate sponsors?
Well, I think that what makes our program, our chapter, so successful is the fact that it is based at a research university. These chapters of this program, most of them are based at high schools. But because it's based at a research university, and specifically at the School of Business, you have access to the 4 groups that I mentioned earlier. You have access to the faculty, you have access to the staff, you have access to the alumni, and you have access to our undergraduate and even some of our graduate students. You would not find that at a high school. And now, thankfully, you unfortunately didn't benefit from this, but you have access to a $64 million facility that not only has wonderful classrooms, but has great space for the corporate people that we bring in for this program and sponsorship. We have really nice space now for this program. We're going to run the program for the first time this year in the new building. So you'd also have the ability to take advantage of that.
Right. That'll be great for the students.
Yeah.
And so, I guess either of you could answer this question. What are the most creative business ideas you've encountered?
So,
Gosh, it's hard to pick out one or two. We have graduated 35, 40 students from the program over the 3 years that we've been running it so far. And each student brings to the program a very unique and exciting idea. So it's hard to pick out a favorite business concept. But I do have a favorite moment that stands out as part of the program that I'd love to share with you.
Absolutely, go ahead.
When the students attend the graduation ceremony, I give them an opportunity, if individually, if they would like to stand up in front of the audience of parents and families and teachers, and to thank Bill Brigham for all of the lessons, the endless hours that he's given them. And a couple years ago, I had a 13-year-old student, very successful in the program, from Farnsworth Middle School in Guilderland, who stood up at the graduation ceremony and said very sincerely, "This has been the best year of my life." And that just always stuck with me. It just really tugged on my heartstrings, and I thought, what better way to market the program than to say to prospective students, perhaps this could be the best year of your life too.
That's wonderful, and the program, of course, is a great program that will benefit many, and I hope that many students will continue to benefit and continue to go through the program. And that has been a very interesting conversation, and that's all the time we have, unfortunately. But thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Maya, for having us.
Yes, and so thank you all for our viewers for joining us today. I encourage you to join us again for the next edition of Youth United, Working for a Better Future. Well, why? It's because it's about you. Until then, take care.